Hello and welcome back to English Today. This is DVD 13 and the first DVD of your upper intermediate level. And in this DVD, we'll begin with another 3 episodes of our story, That's Life, followed by our special TV programs, which include Everything But the Kitchen Sink, featuring our culinary experts. And then there will be a discussion about India and China. Do they represent a threat or an opportunity? Then, in the grammar section, we'll be studying more about the present perfect and the present perfect continuous tenses. And then we'll learn about the gerund and the infinitive. And we'll also study the first conditional. All right? So, I hope you enjoy yourselves.
Sharon, I called a real estate agent 5 minutes ago. He deals with apartments in Japan. He said he'd send an email with some photos. That way we can choose which apartment we like the best.
Don't rush me, Peter. You know I haven't decided.
I know. We've talked about this a lot. But doesn't the idea of leaving appeal to you? I mean, just think of it. A new country, a new life together, new experiences. Now, I'm really enthusiastic about this opportunity. It's not every day you have a chance like this.
Well, I've wanted to make changes in my life for a long time, but these changes seem so, well, so overwhelming. There, I said it. I've never been to Asia, and I'm frightened of going there to live.
But I told you that Alice has been there. She went to Japan in 1995. She says it's a fascinating country. It's antique and modern at the same time. It's full of interesting traditions and new innovations.
I know. I've read a number of books. Last night, I finished reading Japan in the 21st Century. I admit, I'm curious about it all.
You see, just remember, you were afraid when we came to London, but you've adjusted well. We've been here a year and a half, and you haven't once complained. I take that back. You complained once last week.
Come on, Peter, stop joking around. You're right, I've made great friends. That's why I'm so hesitant to go.
I know. I'm also sad at the idea of leaving everyone. But... Hey, Jack. How long have you been in here?
A couple of minutes. Excuse me, I didn't mean to spy. But you were so involved in your discussion.
So you've heard that she still hasn't decided, even if she's going to decide soon. In fact, we were just talking about which apartment to choose.
Well, don't rush it, Peter. Decisions about major changes take time.
So whose side are you on? I need to get going. I took my watch to be repaired 2 weeks ago, and I still haven't picked it up. Sooner or later, they're gonna put it up for sale. Bye. Jack, I'm leaving her in your hands. Please try and convince her.
Hello again and welcome back to English Today, your live TV program where you can learn the English language. That last episode, I'm sure Jack can manage to convince Sharon to go to Japan. What do you think? We will see how that evolves. Now let's go back to the present perfect. Remember that we have learned so far that we use the present perfect with genie, just, ever, already, never, and yet. Well, I want to give you 2 more acronyms to help you understand when you use the present perfect. And the first one is this, flot. Now, you see at the top we have 4. For is a time word. And we use for a length of time. What's length? Length means a duration of time. So if you want to say 10 years, for example, you would say, I have lived in France for 10 years. For 10 years, a duration of time. Or, for example, 5 minutes. I have worked here for 5 minutes. Okay, so for we use for a length or a duration of time. That's flot, F-L-O-T, flot. Now, let's look at the second one, spot. Now, spot starts with the word since. Since is a word that we use when we're talking about an exact point of time. So, let me give you an example. If I say 5 o'clock, that is an exact point of time. So you could say, I have been here since 5 o'clock. Or for a year, you can say 1973, since 1973. So these two words are very important, for and since. Flot, spot. For a length of time, and since for a point of time. Now let's do a little exercise to help you with that. I will say something like 2 days. You must decide whether to use for or whether to use since. Okay? So, 2 days. Is it a length of time or a point in time? Length. So, for 2 days. I have been here for 2 days. Another example. Thursday. Thursday is a point of time, so since Thursday. Great. For a long time, a long time. Exactly, that is a duration, it's a length, so it's for. I gave you the answer. Another one, December. Good, it's a point, so since December, very good. This one, weeks. Very good, 4 weeks. Okay, fine. Let's think of another one. 2001. Okay, that's a point of time, so since 2001. Those are some examples. Let's go to the screen now, and I'll show them to you in a written form. That way you can memorize them and fix them, okay? So, flot and spot. There we have it. For a length of time, flot. So this is to express duration. The examples, I've lived here for 10 years. Then, he's known her for ages. Now, for ages means for a long time, okay? Then we had spot, which is since, and we use it for a point of time. The examples, she's worked there since the 7th of June. Point of time, that's a date. And they've been here since 1978, a year. Okay, so flot and spot. Now, the interesting thing is that when we ask questions about that, we use the word how long. For example, how long have you been here? And we use the present perfect. Look at the screen. We say, how long have you lived in Cambridge? And the answer would be, I've lived in Cambridge for 10 years or since 2001. You see? Now, remember that how long is different to how many times. How many times is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How long is a period of time? Okay? Another example. How long has he worked there? Answers. He's worked there for 10 years, or he's worked there since 1973. All right? Now, just look at the examples we practiced. We have for 2 days, for ages, 4 weeks, for a long time, duration, then since Friday, since 5 o'clock, since 2001, since I was young, and since December. Great. Okay, so there we have it. We have genie, just, ever, already, never, yet. We have flot and spot, which is for and since. This is when we use the present perfect. Great. Now, let's go back and see if Jack has managed to convince Sharon to go to Japan. Okay? Bye.
You can't leave. Now that we finally found each other.
Stop it, Jack. I'm so confused. Don't you start.
I was thinking, you'll be all alone in a foreign country. You won't know anyone. Peter will be at rehearsals all day. At least here you have us. I will always be here for you.
Yes, I know that.
Oh, and did you know that women can't go out alone in Japan?
Jack, that only happens in the Middle East. Stop it now. The truth is, I love new experiences. Remember when I moved to London 2 years ago? I've loved every minute of it.
But that's not what you told Peter.
I said it on purpose. You know I want him to slow down.
I heard what you said 5 minutes ago. You were sincere. You weren't joking.
You misunderstood, Jack. I'm not afraid of leaving. I've lived in a lot of different places in my life. I've done a lot of things. I've worked as a babysitter, as a tour guide, as a waitress. I'm sure I'll find something in Japan.
I know you all too well, Sharon. You haven't ever really enjoyed any of those jobs. You still haven't found what you want to do in life.
Stop it, Jack. I'm glad you promised Peter to convince me to go.
I didn't promise him anything. So, what have you decided? Are you going to move?
I don't know. I think I will. Yes. I'm going to move.
If you've already decided, why did you have a job interview yesterday afternoon?
Who told you that? Anne?
No. I haven't spoken to her for days.
So how did you find out?
It doesn't matter. So, you still haven't answered my question.
I don't have to answer to you, Jack.
Okay. I see you're angry. It just proves that I'm right.
Jack, sometimes you are so impossible. Have you ever considered that maybe it's the best thing for me?
And what about you, Sharon? Have you ever thought that you might be in love with somebody else? Listen, I refuse to give up.
Love is difficult, isn't it? I know something about that. But so is the simple past and the present perfect. And in fact, this is an important lesson because one of the most difficult things in the English language is to decide when to use the simple past and when to use the present perfect. I hear a lot of people making mistakes about this. When do we say, I went? And when do we say, I have gone? Well, remember, up until now, I've tried to help you with these acronyms, you remember? Oilway and genie. And I really do think they'll help you. Now, do you remember, oilway was for the simple past. We use the simple past with on, in, last, when, ago, and yesterday. Okay? And we use the present perfect with just, ever, already, never, And yet, be careful, there are two A's. This is already, this is a go, okay, so be careful there. So, when you are speaking English, you have to make these choices. What do I use, simple past or present perfect? And it depends on what time reference or time word you are using in the sentence. That is the most important thing, okay? Which one of these acronyms? Let me give you an example. We'll take a simple verb like I go. Now, if you want to use already in the sentence, what do we use?